The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
No Jonathan Taylor trade today, and there's been no resolution to the Kansas City Chiefs and Chris Jones. He's been holding out. He wants a new deal, and that's not changing. Today, the Kansas City Chiefs made their 36 cuts to the roster. They even went out and got another defensive tackle.
Neil Farrell.
He's not going to be a replacement for Chris Jones.
No, he's a warm body.
And Chris Jones.
And he's fine. I mean, he's a good player.
Mm-hmm. Chris Jones has been placed on the reserve did not report list, which means what?
So that is what happens to players that go like AWOL, or they have retired, but they didn't file their retirement papers yet. Okay. You put them on that list, and basically they don't count against your roster. They are not in camp, but they are still their rights are owned by that team. So you can do this forever. Now, what does this mean for the long term? Not much, because he could come off the list tomorrow. If they came to some contract agreement, this is not like the PUP list where he's got to stay on it for 4 weeks. He'd come off it tomorrow if he needs to. Now, they would have to make a corresponding roster move, which for him, I don't think is going to be a problem. I have a funny feeling this is going to get done because this is where the rubber meets the road. And if you're Kansas City, I think you have to be looking around the AFC going, how many good quarterbacks do we play? Because Kansas City's schedule is almost hard to comprehend. And look how many good quarterbacks there are, and there's not really anybody on that defense I trust as a pass rusher. Is there a possibility I will be paying too much 3 years from now? Maybe. Do I care? Not really. I mean, just look how they start the year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you go Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, whatever happens in Denver, Justin Herbert, whatever happens in Denver again, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jordan Love, Josh Allen, Mac Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo again, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
Of the best 8 quarterbacks in the league, you play them all. I can't have Chris Jones sit out until week 8. I can't, because I'll be honest with you, I'm just looking at it off the top of my head. I agree with you. I think they beat Detroit week 1 regardless.
Yep.
I think they're losing to Jacksonville week 2 regardless.
Really?
I do.
Wow.
It's Jacksonville home opener. It's going to be loud. They owe you one off the playoffs. This may or Kansas City has had a weird loss in the first 6 weeks of every season in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to beat Chicago, but then you go at New York.
That'll be tough.
The Jets could beat you.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get to Aaron Rodgers, they could beat you.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point it becomes, what are we doing here? We know this is going to come to some kind of resolution. Chris Jones is not going to sit out the year. This is the reigning Super Bowl champion, current Super Bowl favorite, and you're telling me their best defensive player is going to sit out the year over money? That doesn't pass the smell test to me.
Yep.
There might be hurt feelings on each side. All that takes, and trust me, we've seen this 100 times, one phone call in one direction that changes things just a little bit, and all of a sudden now we're hunky-dunky and we're best friends all over again.
Jones is in the last year of his contract, making a base salary of $19.5 million, and he wants big boy money. He wants that 26 to 31 range.
My guess is it ends at 28 because Aaron Donald money doesn't make sense. He is not that kind of player. He's close, but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And that Aaron Donald deal doesn't make a ton of sense. We'll split the difference between you and Quinnen. We'll get it done. We'll go win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
End of message. Repeat the line.
He was 4th last year in sacks as a defensive tackle.
Which is insane.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Back with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock here in the Ingles studio on ESPN Asheville. We'll see you then.